Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is playoff racing action here tonight for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel. for this being the final race of the Elite 8 to see who from our 8 drivers that came into this round will be racing for a championship next week at that of Nashville Super Speedway. But first, they need to conquer this track here tonight of Homestead-Miami for that of the South Beach 200. As we take a look at the points, those 8 drivers that are trying to battle themselves in. Ken Campbell in first place with that of Chris Essery, Cameron Sarton, and Kyle McCoy going to be your 4 drivers that are inside looking good. But as you can tell, it is still very close between second down to that of 6th in points. On the first driver outside the bubble, it's going to be that of Andrew Medlin, Scott Rickard, and then drivers in must-win scenarios, Trey Jackson and Kyle Bowling. All these drivers can show you out here tonight, but we never know what's going to happen because after last week, it really shook things up. We are excited to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, and as well going to have that of Robert Moyer with us here tonight. Zach, the stage is set. We're going from 8 down to our final 4 after tonight, and it's going to be here at Miami.
Yeah, what a track to do it at here, Sam, at Homestead. One of the classic tracks here for oval racing at the intermediate style. It's puts on such a good show, so what a better place to decide the final 4 before we head off to Nashville next week to crown a champion. But tonight's going to be super important. We enter here pretty much every driver out, in the risk of getting knocked out here tonight. King Campbell's really the only one that sits in a good position coming in here, like we've seen there with the points. But I tell you what, that these 8 drivers is such a great group of 8 drivers. We got 2 drivers from last season, Scott Ricker and Kyle Bowling, that were in the final 4 for the Xfinity last season's Xfinity series. And I tell you what, this final 8 here is just so stacked that we can see 2 of them that were in it last year that were super dominant, now knocked out at possibly.
Yeah, potentially knocked out. But technically, if you look at 3 of the 4 are still here. As you got last season's winner, that of Kyle McCoy as well, going to be in the mix, who is going to be that bubble driver. But like you said, 2 of the 4, as that of Dylan, that of Grimm, was not even able to make the playoffs to this point. So this is going to be such a points talked about system. Again, if you were watching last week at Dover, things really got shooken up. Scott Ricker didn't have the best run for himself. He actually finished that of 24th when he qualified in 4th. Just a bad mistake early on that got him into trouble. Same went for that of Kyle Bowling, who found themselves really losing all this time and now going to be outside of the top 4, needing a perfect run. But Zach, bonus points seem to be the reason why other drivers were able to still stay up, such as Cameron Sarton, Kyle McCoy. Bonus points allowed them to at least stay inside of our front 4 coming into tonight's race. Could be also the reason why they continue to stay in, as the bonus points that can be grabbed. 2 points for the pole position, 1 point for leading the lap, 3 points for leading the most laps, but the one that we won't know until the very end of this race, 5 bonus points for 0 incident points.
Yeah, like you said, you don't know that till the checker flag flies. I mean, you can get that incident coming out of turn 4 that, takes those 5 points away. That could be your make or break to get in there. So bonus points are going to be a huge topic throughout the night. And, you brought up guys like Kyle McCoy, Cameron Sarton. They were there at Dover last week in such good positions, had super fast race cars. Kyle McCoy didn't go his way with the timing of pit strategies, cautions coming out. Then Cameron Sarton, he makes the big mistake leading there and gets himself caught in a wreck. Luckily, both of them, they still somewhat, like you said, they got the bonus points for leading laps last week. And also Sarton starting on the pole. But also, McCoy there, it worked his way back to 7th, and even Sarton with the damaged car finished 10th. So they made the most out of their worst possible days. Let's see what they can do here at Homestead to try to turn that around. Right now, they enter right on that edge. It's going to be all the way down to that checker flag. We don't know who's going to be our final 4, and it's going to be so fun to see who's going to compete for a championship next week in Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville Super Speedway, not a very traditional racetrack that you would think of, but that is going to be where these drivers are going to have their final race of the season to see who's going to be winning the championship this season. But before we get to racing action, like we noted on, bonus points can be grabbed here as practice is done, qualifying is on, and all the drivers are going to be having solo qualifying. I mean, they're going to be on track by themselves, but for these 5 minutes, they've got to put down their fastest lap, and then only 2 of the laps will count. As we take a look at some of the drivers that are going to be hitting the course, we've seen a lot of drivers finding some extra pace, but a driver that kind of was surprised me during practice, but it honestly shouldn't have been surprising to me. Chris Essery looking quick for himself. He's going to try to put a burner down, but he's got some competition to watch out as well.
Yeah, definitely gonna have a lot of competition out here tonight, man. This track here, one of the tracks that a lot of us have very much experience at. It's very classically the championship race for a lot of playoffs. It was for a long time where we decided our champion has at the sport of NASCAR. So it is definitely a place that we know very well. So a lot of people are very, very good here. So I expect to see a lot of names up there up front battling for this all the way down to the end. But looking back to last season's championship race, Kyle McCoy was the one that brought home that win with leading 94 laps there in that Xfinity car to bring home that championship. So we'll see, does it translate over from last season? But it's very possible that it doesn't, because this is a completely different way of driving. We'll see right now as McCoy is at the top of the board for now.
For now, he's there, and that bonus point would be so nice. But Nate Lynch, who we're on board with, gonna best that first lap. But again, that first lap not always the fastest lap for these drivers. Only 4 drivers put a time down that have been looking pretty quick. As I say that, another cluster of drivers come in. Scott Rickard's going to be in that of 3rd, as well as Ken Campbell. That first lap going to be besting that of Nate Lynch, and going to continue to keep our eyes on this. Ken Campbell, if he gets this 2 bonus points, that's going to be helping him a lot, bumping himself, having that of a 36-point buffer over that of Andrew Medlin. And I gotta say, for that of Ken Campbell, he certainly would have loved last week's win. Got bested by that of Aaron Hale late at Dover, but here tonight, he's hoping to get at least point his way, if not win his way in, as it's gonna be Kyle McCoy. That second lap is still topping the board for now, and Ken Campbell coming up short, and it's gonna be 2nd for the 15.
Yeah, just a little bit short there for Ken Campbell, but he talked about a little bit in his interview last week. The guy we look at last week's winner, Aaron Hale, he thought maybe he could have battled him a little bit harder, but he decided to play it smart, to play the long game here. And that's why he comes in with such an advantage he does in the points here. So we'll see if Ken Campbell elects to do the same here tonight. I know he said there's going to be a lot of guys up front battling, trying to get that victory to move themselves onto that next round to get that for sure ticket. And he thinks tonight is going to be his way to just sit back and let these guys play it all out as he just tries to make it to the finish and get a good solid point night to get to that Final Four race.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our top 8 points-wise, who's going to make the Final Four, but got to give credit to the 4 of Aaron Hale, finally able to say he is a winner in the Stars and Stripes series, and it has been a long road, and last week, I think everyone was cheering on the 4 after winning at Dover, but coming at turn number 4, going to go into pit road for himself, but there's also been a lot of speed in talking about, a little bit of drivers have been turning heads. This is one of them, the rookie sensation, that of Cameron Sarton, who came away salvaging what should have been, he was dominating the first 3 quarters of Dover, get caught up in a wreck with lap traffic, but was able to at least salvage a top 10 finish in 10th. This 13's looking for some redemption, but he's going to be coming into this race 3rd in points, not the most secure place to be in.
Yeah, that's definitely not the most secure place to be in right now. They're going to go 7th on the board. And personally looking at it, I think he got into the wall in his first lap, actually got a little damage. So that lap probably not the best we could have seen from Cameron Sarton. But yeah, he's definitely one that the drivers, I would say, would be wanting to knock out going into that final race. If you're a driver that's trying to win a championship, that's one of the drivers you would hope not to be competing against, because he's going to be tough all the way down to the end. Here's another one, though. Medlin there, as he comes in after completing his lap. He's not had the greatest qualifying runs this season, I've noticed, but he's always been able to move his way through the field. Right now is 17th on the board. He's going to have to work his way up if he wants to get something done here tonight, because he comes out a few points behind that cut line.
Yeah, last week, Andrew Medlin qualified that of 14th, able to climb up to 6th place. He was almost leading some laps with some speed in the 12. He's going to need an extra bit of speed as we're coming up to 10 seconds before drivers start to get gridded up. And this is going to be a wild one here tonight. Again, it's the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by that of Sharp Apparel. Thank you for joining us for playoff racing action on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. This is going to be a fun one to watch. 133 laps here tonight. There's no fast repairs. 3 extra sets of tires in pit road. And it's all about finishing up front. Trey Jackson, Kyle Bowling, must-win scenarios. Well, we got 6 other drivers. They're going to see how they can point their way in. But how it starts out, here tonight at that of Homestead for that of the South Beach 200. Kyle McCoy grabbing those 2 bonus points of getting the pole position. Going to be up front. To his outside in second place, going to be that of Ken Campbell. Third goes to that of Jason Gratton with Nate Lynch in fourth. Timmy McNally's going to come away with 5th place with Chris Essery in 6th. Cameron Sarton in 7th. Aaron Hale, our last week's winner, going to be in 8th place. With that of Brian Burchett, going to be in 9th. With Kyle Bowling, going to be in 10th position.
Starting in the 11th position in a must-win scenario is Trey Jackson in the 31 machine. 12th is going to go to the 2 of Michael Lynch. 13th place is going to go to the 53 of Christopher Wade. 14th is going to be Scott Ricker looking to get his way back into that Final Four. 15th is going to be the 9 of Patrick Hasty. 16th place is going to be 68 of Nick Holland. 17th is going to be Andrew Medlin on the outside looking in of that cut line for that Final Four. 18th is going to be Dylan Grimm. 19th and 20th is going to be Brian Lynch and Travis Stark to round out that top 20.
21st is going to be that of George Kovacic with that Doug Pierce in 22nd position. 23rd is going to go to Derek Offerman. Race control going to be in that 499. Aaron, that of Randy Cornwell. Thank you for Randy for being up in race control. And 25th is going to be that of Dylan Glass with that of Brian Chu. And Martin Perry going to be our 27 drivers on our grid, but technically it's going to be 26 drivers on track racing here tonight. 4 points. And the point system, it's very odd, Zach. We kind of tried to give a little bit of a picture last week, but we'll give it once again. There are a lot of points to be grabbed. If not even calculating those bonus points that can be grabbed, the pole position, again, went to that of the 7 of Kyle McCoy. But there are a total of points of 9 bonus points that can be grabbed again for leading a lap is 1. Most laps is that of 3. And then 0 incident points of making any contact with a wall, off track, or any other drivers. If you don't do those things, get 5 bonus points. On top of, you can be getting a ton of points for our drivers that are not locked in to the Final Four. If you get a win, you're locked into next week's race. But if you finish in 2nd to 15th in those positions, each position is a difference of 2 points. But if you're 15th on back, 16th on back, it is a 1 point difference. So these drivers got a lot of points to work with. 2nd place has 55 points, all the way down to 15th, only 29 points. So a lot of points already can be grabbed in just those positions. 26 spots. But Zach, we're here at Homestead. Quick briefing about this track as we're about to go green.
Yeah, this track here, Sam, one of the classic mile and a half for sure, no doubt on the schedule. So wide, so many grooves of racing. I think we're going to see them running from the bottom to the top. I think the top might come in here tonight. We'll have to see with this Gen 6 Cup Series car how it works out. But we'll see who can find the groove the earliest here to get themselves in the right position here to get to that Final Four.
Who's making the Final Four? Coming into this race, it's Ken Campbell, Chris Essery, Cameron Sarton, and Kyle McCoy are your top 4 that are in the points. But on track where they're starting, it's Kyle McCoy. Ken Campbell, your front 2. Pace car is up. Green flag is ready to get waved. It's the South Beach 200, and we are green in the penultimate race of seed. Who's making the Final Four? Racing down into turn number 1, it's the 7 of Kyle McCoy, and it's Ken Campbell following suit on the outside.
Yeah, great start there from McCoy as he gets to an early lead there. As Campbell's going to slide up the racetrack on the exit of the corner here to hold on the second. And a quick caution comes out. They're wrecking in the back.
Wrecking in the back. And oh no, it's Scott Ricker going to be involved in this one.
Again on an early wreck here to start the race. Scott Rickard out in the round of 8 here. Does not look like he'll be going on to the round of 4 here to try to get another championship here at the Stars and Stripes League.
Looking at the damage, it's not required, but he certainly does have damage in that front end that he's going to have to deal with as we take an instant replay. Lap 1 here at Homestead, notoriously known at this track with cold tires, drivers worrying about themselves. You see the 0-5 going to be getting on the back bumper of Mike Lynch in the 2. Got Nick Holland on the outside, Christopher Wade 3 wide and just trying to make too big of a move and just gets loose as the 0-5.
Yeah, and you said it there, Sam. Cold tires, man. This is going to be when the car is the most unstable and most unpredictable as a driver. And you can see, look at the just job by Andrew Mellon to get by. Unfortunately, puts Dylan Grimm in the wall, it seems. There's another car. Looks like Travis Dark gets up into Scott Ricker. But, man, everybody trying to get by there. That's just unfortunate. And then, Chu going to come in there. And that's where most of the front end damage comes from for the car. And that is what's going to hurt him the worst in this race. Yeah, it's not required damage, but man, you're not going to have much speed in that race car. Hopefully, his team can do the best of their ability to try to get that thing just fixed as much as possible. Maybe can salvage something. You never know. It's not over yet for this 05, luckily.
And I was watching Brian Chu. I think he might have locked up those tires trying to slow down. And because he locked it up, he had no way of turning left or right to avoid the 0-5 and just plowed right into the front bumper. And now our Season 2 champion in this series, he was trying to become the next driver to go have 2 championships, as this driver, Kyle McCoy, that has done so already. And this is going to be frustrating for Scott Rickard because, like we noted on at the end of the regular season, and we'll say it once more, this playoff system is relentless. One bad race, and you can see yourself being knocked out of a round. And for Scott Rickard, this is 2 bad races in a row, as the first round was the round of 12. Only 2 races for that round before we cut it down to 8, and we're currently in that round of 8 for these drivers. This is the second race. First one was last week at Dover, now here at Homestead, and Scott Rickard didn't finish well last week, finished 24th, and right now currently running in 23rd, still in pit road, but able to just get running at least. And that's going to be the big thing, is at least it's a running machine here, Zach, as we're getting ready to stack up and go green once more.
Yeah, I think that's the grain of salt you can take with it, Sam. It's unfortunate that, that early to be damaged, and, he's already out of it points-wise also, so he's going to be in a tough position that he need to gain points. So, but luckily still rolling, got the motor still running. Hopefully no engine damage to that car. Hopefully it's just cosmetic to the fenders. And he'll see what he can do to work out of this. But, man, it's going to be a tough hole to dig out of. Hasn't led the points since race number 9 of this season. Also, it's been a downhill for Scott Rickard, really since we left Phoenix earlier in the season. In the regular season, it's just not went his way after starting off so strong.
It really has not, as the lights are still on the pace car. Drivers getting ready to go, as watching pit road right now, and Scott Rickard going back into pit road to get more damage repair done, trying to get as much repairs and hope that this thing can at least run fast enough to try to go for a top 20, if not a top 15, and hope to salvage anything. But this is going to be hard for a driver that comes in again sixth in points, was actually 29 points out from just Kyle McCoy, who was 4th in points. I mean, that's meaning that really, for Scott Rickard, he needed to finish in the top 5, if not top 3, and also needed McCoy to have an off race to have an opportunity to point his way in. Could be that of a season-ending wreck for the 0-5, as the pace car lights are off. We're stacking up. Again, not a lot of movement from the drivers that are up in the top 10. It's going to be that of Kyle McCoy, Ken Campbell, that of Jason Gratton, as well as that of Chris Essery, Tim McNally, Cameron Sarton, Aaron Hale, Brian Burchett, and Kyle Bowling. It's going to be our top 10. Only true movement that's happened is for 5th place, where Chris Essery and Tim McNally have swapped positions for the drivers that are up front. But everything else that's swapped around, that's going to be about 10th on back, where drivers have made the most momentum and change. But Zach, they only got a lap in, if you could even say a lap in, before we got that first caution. And now they got to try this restart again on even colder tires than what they started on.
Yeah, and that was exactly what I was going to say. Just rolling around here more and more like this is just cooled the tires down even more from the start of this race. So right now, that's going to be even a little bit more sketchy as they head down to turn 1. We've seen just the moment that Scott Rickard had, and really that came from him lifting due to Lynch in the 2 having a moment there for him. So it's really down to the driver ahead of you 2 not having to check up for them. We'll see who can hold on to it here as they head down to 1.
Well, lap 1 didn't go well. Let's try another restart here for the South Beach 200 at Homestead for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series, presented by Sharp Apparel. As the pace car is off, we are green, and it's Kyle McCoy, Ken Campbell going to be side by side, but it's 7 already and have the better launch. And our top 3 single filing out down into turn number 1.
Look at this, the 46 of Jason Gratton once again right back up in the picture. What could have been for him if he could have made these playoffs? Here's the speed he's shown, but it's side-by-side racing back here as Essery looks like he'll slot in behind the 25 and 8 Lynch as they head down the back straightaway.
And Cameron Sarton going to be on down low, trying to get by Tim McNally, and the others going to be on the low end. And again, progressive banking for these drivers, so we're going to be seeing a lot of different spots. Oh boy, Burchett's going to get loose coming out of the corner of turn 4, and everyone's going to be jacking up just slightly for that of 15th on back, but able to hold on for now. And still, the movement is going to be seeing some of these drivers on the outside trying to make any moves possible. And just to give note for that of Scott Rickard, he's going to be still back in 24th. But you can see that loose sensation drivers trying every type of move, as here comes Glass trying to get by that of watching Doug Pierce in the 39, and will do so on that movement. But we got to move back up because right now for second place, Jason Grattan under pressure as Ken Campbell wants to gain another position.
Yeah, Campbell putting the pressure on here, but looks like Grattan will be able to hold on this as he drives it off into turn one right on the seam, trying to make it happen. And you brought up the progressive banking, and that's why you're going to see these lanes here be used all around this racetrack. From the bottom to the top, there's a different banking from each asphalt slab on the track. So down here on the bottom is the least banked part of the track, and up towards the wall, it's a little bit more banked. So you get a little bit more extra help from the track up there. So it allows that top to be a little bit quicker, and be able to make up that longer distance around and really make this track very racy. So great racing we're seeing right now, but looks like right now kind of single filing out as they're trying to find the groove here, as the bottom looks to be the way to go if they wanted to.
That's always seems to be in the early portions of the race. The bottom's where you want to be with that grip. Once the tires get warmed up, it's where you feel the most confident, as they're seeing drivers trying all different lanes. At 68 of Nick Holland trying to find his spot. It's the 44 of Kyle Bowling, still in 10th spot. But as well, Zach, when we talk about Homestead, when it's watched other series, seems to be also tire wear. So a factor for these drivers to watch out for.
No doubt. This place here is just known to take the tires off. It's very, very abrasive. And that's really what adds to the factor of the race is we actually got a battle for the lead. Is Jason Grattan. He went straight to the wall down here in 1 and 2. He knew something was there. He had so much more speed through the center and entry there than Kyle McCoy. It looks like he may be taking that the old strategy of just going completely full bore here in the early goings. It's actually 3 wide now back there around. I believe that's Trey Jackson in the 31, who's in that must-win spot back there along with Nick Holland.
Yeah, it's going to be for that 10th place position. You see that of Trey Jackson stuck in the middle. He's got to be careful not to get too loose. He's got Holland, then he got Trey Jackson in the middle, and Christopher Wade going to be on the outside, and Holland's able to make the pass. But here comes the draft on the backstretch. Going to be seeing how that 31 wants to react. And Trey Jackson, coming off of a decent run last week, he was looking like he was going to get even a better finish for himself, but was kind of in a late incident. And I got to say, for this 31 machine, he certainly has found himself in the right position at the right time late in the race. Some drivers might be caught up in some wrecks and fortunate moments. 31, as long as he can keep that front nose clean and keep that damage to a minimum, I think Trey Jackson still get a good shot for a good finish here tonight, but he has to win. Must-win scenario for that 31 machine.
Oh, no doubt. In a tough spot after, not being able to get the pit road. They're getting into the barrels as he came down at Dover. So tough. As you see Aaron Hell up there, the winner from Dover, right in the middle of that 3 wide there from us. Kyle Bolin backs out as to lose a little speed here down this straightaway. But right now, seeing a lot of hard racing, and this outer groove is where you want to make passes. If you get to a person's quarter panel, it seems like they can't hold the car down. It looks like they're a little bit tight here on these race cars, and it's being able to roll that top there. As you see Christopher Wade in that 53, he's continuing to move forward from that 13 starting spot. He's making up big moves as he's passing Nate Lynch for 6th now.
And when we're talking about big movements here from drivers, is Wade's going to be just throwing it to the outside, really trying to keep that momentum and speed to a maximum here and out of the corner. Watch out for the run that he potentially could have on the front stretch. And we're seeing the aggressive moves here from Cameron Sarton, as well as that of Ken Campbell, battling for this 4th place position. But you look at where the drivers are positioning, and Zach, I feel like this is one of those moments in the race. Yes, it's early on, but I think for the whole entire race, I think for the majority of these drivers, I would prefer to have a friend in my ear telling me the scenarios that we're in, because right now, all the drivers that came in the top 4 points, they're leading all the drivers that need to get the best points possible. And if you're being told that information, maybe you don't have to race as aggressive or battling for every position as hard as possible.
Yeah, I think that makes especially Ken Campbell's job a lot easier. He just needs to relax, and that's exactly what I think Campbell's doing here. He's not really using his tires here, and that's one thing I'm a little concerned with a few of these guys. Like, I see the 68 of Nick Holland, I see the 53 of Chris Wade here. They're really attacking that outer groove. Yeah, it's got a lot of speed right now, but if you continue to attack that entry like you do each and every time carrying that speed, those tires are going to quickly fall away. So we'll see if that can work for that group, as Aaron Hill trying to work his way past now Ken Campbell, that points leader, who's just trying to make something out of tonight where he can survive, make it to the end, and salvage a decent finish to get him to that Nashville Superspeedway where he's going to try to go win that championship.
Well, watch out for the Aaron Hale. He's going to be the top driver on the outside. They're coming up to lap traffic. That's going to be the 11 of Brian Chu. who you see in that green interstate machine, who's going to be on the outer lane trying to hold off. But when you're already 2 wide, you're going to force this field to go 3 wide, and that pinching momentum can be losing drivers. And watch out for Trey Jackson. He's got to come down and find a little bit of opening, and that's going to squeeze the whole entire field up. They're going to be 3 wide on the front stretch, and just like that, everyone able to minimize their incidents, but that certainly could have been a big one on the front stretch.
That was a little bit of a sigh of relief from all those drivers there as they made it through. And Brian Chu up there up on that top side. It's, yeah, like I said, you're already 2 wide. That makes it a 3 wide moment. And if you're 3 wide, it can make it a 4 wide moment. So you got to be careful for those things. He's looking at Dylan Glass continue to charge his way through on the inside there as he looks to go front forwards. But Andrew Medlin, that tour machine, trying to make his way also forward and get himself some points. He's that first driver on the outside looking in when we came in here to on the cut line. If he can do something big here tonight like he's been doing, where he's had a lot of race pace in these races, we could see him make his way to that Final Four.
This thing we've been loving to watch all season long. Here's our driver cam for that of Andrew Medlin, a driver that's going to be 5th in points, needing to be in front of that of Kyle McCoy, or even if he's going to be in front of any other driver, he's going to want to be in front of either Chris Essery or Cameron Sarton. Going to need a lot of work from this 12 right now, as the drivers that he needs to be in front of currently running up in the top 5. That means the 12 needs to be making some big moves and potentially might be placed in a must-win scenario if we're seeing that of Ken Campbell running in the middle of the field, as well as Chris Essery, Sarton, and McCoy all running in the top 5.
Yeah, great runs here for the guys who started up there. They definitely need to do something if you're outside looking in for points. So Medley needs to get up there, but we look up to Chris Essery now up into 3rd. Behind him is his teammate Cameron Sarton along with Christopher Wade, but up front it's the battle for the lead. Gratton, it looks like he's going to give it up as McCoy has finally got it done with the slide job, move up to the top. We'll see if Gratton elects to go to the inside. I think he'll just hold station here now, as it looks like McCoy, he's been kind of just waiting and prowling there, trying to get this lead back, and now feels good enough to start to go out front.
Yeah, the big thing was coming on the exit of turn 4. It looked like that 46 just carried too much speed out of the throttle too soon, and it looked like he was going to go right into that outside wall. Luckily backed out of it, so giving the position to Kyle McCoy for the lead. But for Jason Gratton and Kyle McCoy and all these drivers, you talked about tire wear for them and how aggressive they were pushing these cars. Well, looking at the best times compared to what they're running right now, Jason Gratton already a full second slower than his best time, as we're on 21 laps into the race.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this track. The tire degradation is so high that it literally just falls away from you, that lap time does. And that's where you start to see a good bit of this passing. And one of the tracks that we actually do see some separation. Yeah, we have, we do have these front 4 right here, all nose to tail in line, kind of, grouped up together with, it looks like now Nick Collin trying to make that move there back behind on that 53 of Christopher Wade, who actually does slide himself up into the top 5 now. But you're seeing some different little, some breaking away from these drivers. So as this run continues on, we'll see the separation get more and more here at Homestead. This is the one track that really breaks out that pack racing aspect of these cars.
I'm loving the fact that we're seeing Nick Collin top 5 currently for that 68 machine. Had really needed a maximum effort from that of Nick Collin here this season. They started on the off foot, then was starting to find a little bit more momentum, just missed out on the playoffs, and now showing some good runs here at that of Homestead. And I think coming into this season, Nick Collin was a driver that we were expecting to make the playoffs, potentially make it into the top that of the final 8 in the playoffs, but missed out. And now, hey, this is the perfect time. We got tonight's race, and then next week, and then the season's over. This is the best time to find that momentum, and as well, this is going to be one of the last times we really see the Gen 6 Cup cars being utilized, as a lot of the leagues, they're transitioning to the next gen, Gen 7. And so this has been a kind of a treasured season and racing series for us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, watching the Gen 6 cars, kind of the last hurrah here on iRacing.
Yeah, it definitely is kind of the last hurrah of this version of the Gen 6 here. It's been a car, personally, I started my iRacing career on, so it is a really cool thing to see us transition into a new car and now going to the future. But this car was a great thing for us. As you see, Aaron Hill was able to make that pass around Nate Lynch there on that top side, as Bolin was trying to make the bottom work. But man, you can just see it works so well at this track here at Homestead. This is one of the places it just puts on a show and makes me smile every time I get to watch a race here.
As we're watching currently with the 4 and the 25, going to be that of the battling force out of 7th place. or trying to catch up to our leaders. There's about a 6-10 difference between that action and this that's going on. Our top 6, especially this battle for second place. Chris Essery going to be down low, trying to get by Jason Gratton as well. Going to be having a little bit of assistance from the 13, Cameron Sarton, and they're charging down low. We saw that outer lane have a little bit of an advantage, but that was 5 laps ago. 5 laps now, that inside lane is now having that extra speed. Slide job move, and it's got of Chris Essery now up to second.
Great move by Chris Essery. And, here is Sarton just trying to work over Jason Gratton. It'll be possibly putting these 3 drivers up front here of McCoy, Essery, and Sarton. And personally, these have been the 3 I'd say have been the strongest in the playoffs. These 3 right here have got to be on the minds of people if they're heading off to Nashville next week. That they're going to have to beat one of these 3 most likely to get the championship, as they've now took over those top 3 spots. So it looks like Holland here also going to try to get by Gratton, who looks to be struggling a little bit as he got to that lead early, possibly used a little bit too much tire for that 46.
Well, this has been kind of the routine of Jason Gratton all season long. He's found a way to qualify well, and then he starts to fall off. And then once he gets mired back in the middle of the pack, he gets caught up in someone else's incident and gets caught up in a wreck. He's got to hope that he can at least salvage some speed, but he was up front so aggressive early on for that of the 46. Kind of, if anything, giving me shades of what Chris Essery was last season, if anything, or even in the beginning of this season. Just too aggressive early on, using up those tires, and then everyone else that was being patient, going to see them blowing by the 46. But front 3 going to be our top 3 in points right now that are looking secure to be making it into our final 4 and are looking fabulous for themselves and want to be hunting and hounding going into that of Nashville Super Speedway next week. Which, think about Nashville Super Speedway next week. I mean, a little bit of a preview. Concrete racing action. We think about concrete, think of Cameron Sarton, and we also think of Kyle McCoy. Those are going to be our 2 favorite drivers to watch out for as we're right on board with Jason Gratton currently in the 46 for 4th place. But next week is going to be such a difference of a racetrack, one of the newest tracks added to iRacing, and kind of still new and fresh for a lot of the drivers that have only maybe touched that track maybe 2 to 4 times in their iRacing career.
Yeah, no, it's a really, really different track. It's definitely a track I think we're all still learning as not only commentators but drivers. And personally, when we go there next week, the one thing I think that's going to be more important than anything is, first of all, is getting that qualifying lap in and getting out front. If you can get track position at that track, it is so tough to pass. And with that 750 package, it is no pack racing. You can pull away, man. So if you can get out front early, hold on to that lead, and be able to keep your tires underneath you at a really abrasive track like that, it'll be a really, really advantageous spot. So if I'm one of those drivers, that's what I'm thinking for big next week if you want to go get that championship. But if you're on the outside looking in, you've got to get stuff done here tonight at Homestead, as we're seeing more battles back here with TBA now.
It's going to be the battling that's going on for that of 12th and also 13th position with Dylan Glass and Tim McNally as they're battling along, as it's going to be our top 15, all within about 4.5 seconds one another. Then you can drop back to this pack of drivers. This is 17th on a back on this pocket of, I would say, a hornet's nest. If we're going to see a caution, potentially with this group of drivers, as they are still side by side, almost 3 wide. And you watch out for that of Brian Lynch, who's going to go a little bit too hot for his liking, and not able to find that momentum that he was looking for. But you kind of get a sense of what that 24 machine wanted to do. Wanted to carry the speed on the outside, but just went up a little bit too aggressive, scrubbed off too much time. And there goes the 23 of that of Grimm, who this is not that type of race I think the 23 of Grimm wanted to have after being put in the wall in our one and only yellow so far this race.
Yeah, definitely didn't want that to happen. Anytime you get any right side damage, that is a tough thing to come back from. A Grimm's working on that. Now we're watching the 209 of Travis Darton. Also got the 20 of Derek Hoffman there in the very different paint scheme. Our producers point out to us. It's very, very, very different from what we're normally used to seeing him in.
I mean, you don't just put in Home Depot away after not the season that you wanted to have. And it's a nice scheme that we're seeing here of Valvoline. And, as we're watching, this is the battling for 23rd and 24th. And you drop back even further back, who's soon to be going a lap down if we continue to stay green for another 15 to 20 laps. There is the driver that saw his hopes for going to the final 4 snuffed out on lap number 1. Scott Rickard He is already right now running a full second slower than our leaders. And Zach, this is heartbreaking for a driver that has won a championship in this series, was looking fast in the first half of the season. And like you note on after race number 9, it has just been a downfall and just trying to salvage anything and everything. But this round of 8 has been the worst of it here on this slump.
Oh, no doubt, man. This has not went well for Scott Rickard. I mean, I look all the way back to his win at Watkins Glen. Ever since then, February 24th, since that date, he has only gotten one top 10 finish since then, and that was 2 weekends ago at Auto Club, getting a 5th place finish. Other than that, it's been a 24th, 11th, a 19th, a 15th, and a 20th place finish. He's been, most of the times outside the top 15 and sometimes outside the top 20 in these last 6 races. So it's just all went really, really bad at the wrong time for Scott Rickard, who in those first 12 races, he had 10 top 10s. So it was just, just an unfortunate into his season after such a really strong and consistent start.
It's strong, it's been consistent, and that's exactly what we can say about our top 3 right now, of that of Kyle McCoy, as well as Chris Essery, Cameron Sargent, and now a newcomer that's been finding his speed as well, and also a rookie with that of Cameron Sargent. Jason Gradden's doing a great job sticking with our front 4, as our top 4 are going to be within a half a second of one another down into turn number 1, and they're keeping it close. But if I'm that of Cameron Sargent, I'm not a fan of how close I'm seeing Jason Gradden getting, because I'd say that 13, not like him being a sandwich in the middle of his teammate of that of Chris Essery, and as well Gradden behind him.
Yeah, I think the ideal thing for him would be the last car on the back of this pack here. But, Grattan, ever since he's gotten past, he's done a good job to hang on, and that's what he's done well. I mean, Holland was there right there challenging him. He got, was able to hold that station, and Holland has dropped back from this group. He's over a second back now as he's sliding back to Aaron Hill, our winner from last week at Dover, who is continuing just another fantastic run. And, what could have been for him if that first round would have played out better for him than that round of 12.
Yeah, and as well, you drop a little bit further back, and you can see the Campbell's machine, the 15, Ken Campbell. He's rolling there with seeing Kyle Bowling and Trey Jackson. They've been, seeing these 3 drivers clustered up, and this is not where Bowling nor Jackson can be. They need to be up front in our top 4, battling for that lead position. But they're mired back, trying to test and see who's going to be in the top 10. This is not the way they needed this race to go. And if this race stays green here at Homestead, which, it notoriously has been known, you get it early wreck, usually this race can stay green for quite a long time. If we get into a long green flag run, like we're starting to get into, track position could be the big factor for these drivers on how well they can be, track position, as well as changing up different strategies on how they can, fuel runs, tires. I'm wondering on who's going to find out the strategy they want to throw out. That could be a wild card to win here tonight.
Yeah, that is that's one thing that started to come to my brain too, is that strategy of how this is all going to play out as Jackson continues to try to make this. But Mellon there thought about 3 wide for a moment there of Bowling and Jackson up ahead of him. But yeah, the strategy, I think, is kind of cut and dry. At least we did have that caution, so we'll have to see how far they could stretch it with a caution. But you would need to go, 67 laps at one point on a tank if you want to do a one-stop strategy. I do not see that being possible here tonight, especially with a 90% fuel load. So I think in around that lap 45 mark, really from there on, is when you'll start to see pit stops happen. Is this 3 wide now again, battling back here on lap 40 of the run?
Who wants to be inside of that top 11? It's going to be seen on the inside. Tim McNally, Medlin, and as well, Bowling's going to be all the way up, almost against the wall. It's the 44, trying to find a little bit extra speed. And coming out of turn number 2, it's going to be the 44 and the 12, who's going to get the better run. Just showing that difference in the progressive banking going through the corners. You might be able to get a good launch into the corner if you're down low, but it's the exit where you find that speed and the transition of who's got the better run. As we right on board with the 88 of Tim McNally. He's going to have the 2 of Mike Lynch to his outside, but he's watching also the battling between playoff drivers. Got a Medlin in the 12, going to be on the inside. The 44 Bowling in the white and red, going to be on the outer.
Yeah, and you had Mick, you had the 31 Trey Jackson get by the 44 finally. Now Medlin trying to do the same. He'll clear here off the exit at 2, but just had a moment of being clear. Now able to hold it as Bowlin's got to back out. Is now McNally going to have the run here to ride with him. He's going to dive to the inside. Looks like Mike Lynch, though, going to follow him through if possible.
Now this is the part of the race where you start searching. Is the inside lane where you want to be? Usually when you get this late into a run, that's the inside lane becomes the preferred spot because you can't get into the gas soon. The tire wear, the degradation kicks in. It's a little bit too much. But as you can see, driver still trying all the different lanes possible. As the 44 still stays up against that outside wall as they continue to race on. I mean, the decision of when and where you're going to come into pit road, I think that's going to be continuing to loom over these drivers' minds, especially in the next 15 to 20 laps is when we're expecting pit stops to strike.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting scenario to see what they do. Oh, Medlin gets real loose up top, almost into McNally. He saves it, though. What a job by him there between right on board with Bowling. He got to see a first-class shot of that, and he's going to go right up to the wall and actually get up into it. Yeah, that is the thing about running that wall. It's nice to get up there, but if you get a little bit too much, it is very easy to overstep your marks and get right into that wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy just to one misstep of flooding the car drift a little bit too fast in the corner, or even getting on the throttle too soon. Could be costly. But as we've been watching the great battling that's been going on around 10th place, up front, things have slightly changed. Cameron Sarton has found some speed on the outer lane and has made the pass for the lead. That outside lane is for the 13. He's in cruise control as well. Here comes that of Chris Essery trying to figure out how to move up to second place. Cameron Sarton, if anything, this 13 has proven, if you look back to last week at Dover, long runs didn't really matter for the 13. He was still putting down burner lap after burner lap, while the rest of the field, they were struggling with tire wear. I'm not surprised by this, but as you see here, the 0-5, that is Scott Rickard's going to be going a lap down and going to be the first car a lap down. So if we get a caution immediately and he's not involved, lucky dog for himself, but right into the wall goes the 0-5. Just a snowball effect. It just continues to pile on. A miserable night continues for the 0-5, Scott Rickard.
Yeah, it continues to go downhill for him, but we'll have to see, how he can rebound from this into it next season, because it does not look like he'll be moving on with the way it's working out already. One lap down, but man, I tell you what. Oh, wow, there we go. Pit stop's happening. Yep, there it is. The 7 pulls the strategy first. Kyle McCoy, he's seen enough. He gets passed by Cameron Sarton. 1 lap later comes the pit road. And I think this is a decent strategy here. Like I said, lap 45, right around the area where I thought the first pit stop was going to transpire. But I tell you what, Sarton beaten. I think these guys are beating Kyle McCoy out of his own game. Remember last year, Kyle McCoy, he was so good at the long run, so well at just saving the tires. This is what Sarton has had the strength of this season in the Gen 6. He's been the top dog of that, and it's showing here tonight at Homestead as he's driven from that 7th start spot up to the lead. And now it looks like Jason Grattan, he's going to follow suit this next lap later from 3rd. He's going to come to pit road as the 2 teammates out front, Sarton and Essery, still stay out.
Well, I'm trying to remember from that of Dover last week. I'm pretty sure Kyle McCoy did a similar strategy of coming into pit road sooner than the rest of the field, and then that second stop was when he pitted much later. But at the same time, Cameron Sarton, Chris Essery, how long are they going to feel comfortable trying to push out these cars? Is riding on board with that of Cameron Sarton to gain a sense of how aggressive he's trying to run on that outer lane, and he's still pushing it. And as you can tell by that steering wheel, he is working that wheel, trying to make sure they can get these through the corners as fast as possible. At the same time, I don't think fuel saving is in the mind at all for the 13.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to try to stretch it to that 67 point. I just don't see that very well happening. Well, I mean, we did see them stretch it at Dover. That was the thing. They were going to pull the 2-stopper at Dover while the other drivers are going to pull the 3-stopper. But I think tonight it's pretty clear-cut with the strategy. I think they're just going to stretch it a little bit longer here, have the advantage, and also probably pit together. This track here, even though you do spread out, it is very much similar to pack racing. Being in a pack early in the run, especially having another driver to work with and push together and draft off of early in the runs can really equate to some higher speeds. So we'll see if the 2 teammates elect to do that, as there's about 9/10 of a second between the 2. As you're going to see here in a quick few seconds behind these 2 as Sarton heads down the back straightaway. Essery's exiting out of 2. He's got Kyle McCoy a couple car lengths behind him, who's going to be trying to unlap himself.
As drivers continue to come into pit road, we're going to find ourselves with about 10 drivers, the 10 or 11 drivers that still need to come in and get service done. But I want to do a quick breakdown of what these drivers are currently looking like. For that Cameron Sarton, this last lap, he just put down a 35.0 lap time. His best lap time was a full 2 seconds. 33.0 was the best time for this 13. The 7 of Kyle McCoy just put down a 33.4. And so showing he's already getting some wear on the 7's tires, which I was looking back, just that 5 laps of green flag racing on these tires, you're already a full half a second off of your best times. The drop off is ridiculously quick. It's not until you're 20 laps in that you start to see a plateau. I see Aaron Hale coming to pit road. So for Cameron Sarton, he's just going to be giving up a lot of time, but he's hoping he can gain all this time back once we get back to seeing the 13 get into pit road and try to offset all the time that he's given away.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to go too much longer here now, as he's going to be about this as he completes this lap. This will be 6 laps later if he elects to come here, and he's going to the bottom this time. That tells me right here he is coming to pit road.
Coming to pit road here, and he's already slow. A little bit of a more passive entry, I would say, compared to the 7 of Kyle McCoy. But you got to make sure not to be caught speeding, and it's also going to be seeing the 10 of Chris Essery following suit. No black flags currently on the entry of pit road, as Christopher Wade stays out for another lap, going to be taking that lead position. Lead laps, another, you could say, I mean, this is good to see for, Cameron Sarton. At least he gets himself a lap led during that first run. That's 1 bonus point that goes to that of the 13. Chris Essery, I mean, you would love to have that lap led. He'll work with what he's got as drivers getting service done. We still wait for our final about 6 drivers coming to pit road. That being Christopher Wade, Andrew Medlin, Dylan Glass, Patrick Hastings, Derek Offerman, and as well that of Travis Dart, all still need to come into pit road. Scott Rickard's going to be another driver, but he's back in 18th place. Again, still a full lap down. Potentially going to be going 2 laps down here shortly at the pace that we're seeing that 0.5 go. But Zach, I mean, this first stint, 53 laps into this 133 lap race here at Homestead. I mean, besides that first lap wreck, this has been some pretty clean race, and I think everyone recognized after that first lap incident of, all right, let's calm down a bit. Let's not get too aggressive here.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that too, Sam. And looking a little bit here at how this is working, is, oh man, I think the 13 may have had a mistake, guys. He's back on pit road. I don't know what type of black flag he got, but I don't think it was for speeding. It must have been on exit or something, some type of mistake, because he is well here going down to his pit box, and he's got a black flag.
I don't know if he could be held here. And if he's held into pit road, again, he's getting no service. He's just got to be held here, holding on. This could be a pit entry flag. But again, if you get off of if you caught speeding on the exit of pit road, or if you do not merge onto the racing surface cleanly, you can get a penalty for himself. And he's being held for an extended time. This is going to be putting the 13 a lap down, if not more. And now this is going to be blowing up everything. This now gives Andrew Medlin an opportunity to try to point his way in to that of the Final Four.
No doubt, Sam. This is a big mistake here from the 13. It looks like it was speeding on the exit of pit road, is what I've gone back and found out to see. Big time speeding too. So he is just leaving the pit road exit now. He is well out of this thing, guys. Now he's going to need multiple cautions here to get back in this. 2 laps down at this moment as Wade has gone by, and we're going to be looking to put him almost 3 laps down here. Luckily, he's got a new tire, so he'll begin to pull away. But, man, this has swung the door wide open for one driver to slide their way up into that top 4. What a mistake from one of our top contenders.
And that was the big thing. You could not make mistakes. Being involved in an accident or pit road mistakes for themselves, as Travis Dart going to be coming into pit road for the 209. Going to be leaving us with, again, top 5 drivers still needing to come into pit road. Christopher Wade, Andrew Medlin, Dylan Glass, Derek Offerman, and Patrick Hastings going to be those drivers currently, as Kyle McCoy just went from, I might have to challenge and worry about Cameron Sarton on this, pit stop strategy, to, well, let's just continue running our own race, as Andrew Medlin in second place did go into pit road under yellow flag conditions, under our first yellow of the race. So for the 12th, he can go a little bit further than everyone else. This is going to be probably a shot for Andrew Medlin, trying to figure out if he could stretch it to halfway or even further than halfway for this race.
Yeah, that would be an interesting strategy to see, because I was going to bring that up right as I see the black flags coming out, that these guys up front, a few of them did hit pit road. Along with him, it was Offerman and Hasty. All of them hit pit road twice, so they went back down and topped off there. And, man, I tell you, that's going to help them out. It looks like Offerman and Hasty came down 4, and looks like for Medlin, it was lap 3. So maybe Offerman and Hasty will have a little bit more left in that tank. But if they can stretch it, 69, lap 70, they may be able to do the rest on about 63 laps of fuel. So it's going to be interesting to see. They need to make a little bit of headroom because they had that caution there to top off to help them get to that point. So just make a little bit of extra room for you on the backside of this thing. You never know. A one stop could work out, but will it work out for tires, and how, where will it all be at time? That's going to be the one fun thing we get to see here if it does play out this way.
Well, for Andrew Medlin, he comes into this race 5th in points, being 15 points back from Cameron Sart and as well Kyle McCoy. 16 points off of that of Chris Essery and 34 points off of Ken Campbell. As here it comes into pit road, Andrew Medlin not able to make it to that halfway marker. He's going to need potentially a little bit of help and strategy calls, as here comes that of Derek Offerman, as well going to be that of the 05 of Scott Rickard. So this is a little bit of a different strategy for themselves. Still have Dylan Glass, Patrick Hastings. They're going to have to come to pit road still here shortly, and they're going to be the last two. But Zach, the difference being only 15 points, that's not too big of a gap for that of Medlin to worry about, because if he's inside of the top 15, each position is 2 points, meaning all he needs to do is just be just that of 7, 8 points. 7 to 8 positions ahead of that of seeing, Cameron Sarton, and he's going to be getting a massive push as you're seeing drivers scattering around one another. Kyle McCoy has the lead for now after making the pass on Patrick Hastings, and he's got to be careful because Jason Gratton is on the move, being just a second and a half back.
Yeah, Gratton now going to be that one that slots into effectively second once this all cycles. The Brew is Hasty is still yet to come to pit road in the 9 machine here on lap 61. Glass hit pit road last time by. I think with Hasty, he may be able to go 1, maybe 2 laps more at most here due to him being up, pitting there on lap 4 of the caution. We'll see there as Gratton goes by for second now in the 9.
Dylan Glass, who stayed out as long as possible, going to come out in 18th place, still on the lead lap. Update on that of Cameron Sarton. 2 laps down is the 13 after being called for a holding penalty in pit road after making his mistakes. As we take a look here at the time that's being gained from Jason Gratton onto that of Kyle McCoy, and it is gaining in time, starting to be a little bit different on, the gap is going to be dwindling down because both drivers are seeing those tires getting some degradation. But that 46 also trying to get by lap traffic, that's going to be hurting on the gain time. But it's been all Jason Gratton, and that's just 1 lap advantage, and you're just seeing the speed just slightly better now than the 7, even trying to get by lap traffic.
Yeah, definitely looking good there for the 46. He's going to be in a interesting scenario when this all cycles through. I'm interested to see how Chris Essery comes up through here, because he's about 3/10 quicker than these guys right now, and he's got much fresher tires. So we'll see if he can continue his march up. He's about 6.5 seconds back now from that 7 of Kyle McCoy. But Cameron Sarton, man, just go back to that mistake. It's going to be a big one, because right now, after it's all pretty much cycled through for the majority of the part, he's still back there 2 laps down to 25th. He is going to need major help when it comes to some type of yellow to get this race back into a different, transition for him where he can get some laps back.
He's going to do everything in his power to do so. That of Cameron Sarton, who's going to be back in 25th position. And if the race ended where we're at right now, do believe that because of Andrew Medlin not being inside of the top 15 and gaining some of those extra bonus points for those positions ahead, Cameron Sarton is okay currently where he lies to be moving on into the final 4. But that's on if Andrew Medlin can gain more positions with much fresher tires than the drivers ahead. I wouldn't be surprised to see Medlin gain at least 3 or 4 more positions, which then would put him points-wise inside of our final 4 as we keep our eyes talking about the ticker, talking about where the drivers lie. We're now coming to past halfway here in just a couple of laps. We're going to step aside. When we come back, where are the drivers going to be lying? Because right now, Kyle McCoy is doing a great job holding off the rest of the field. When will they come into pit road once again? We'll find out in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel for playoff racing action. It's the Elite Eight last race to figure out who's going to make the Final Four to race for a championship here for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. Tonight's race is going to be that of the South Beach 200 at that of Homestead. And currently, right now, it's Kyle McCoy leading the way after a major mistake from Cameron Sark, speeding on the exit of pit road, causing the 13 to go 2 laps down as well. Scott Rickard, another driver that was outside of our front four in points, caught up in an early wreck that brought out our first yellow of the night. It's been a wild one here tonight so far, and a lot of our first pit stops are done. We'll get ready for our next one here in 30 laps, but gives us an opportunity to talk about some of our most amazing sponsors out here, starting that with Advanced Sim Racing. Advanced Sim Racing, one of your one-stop shops if you're trying to get yourself set up with racing rigs. They've got their own chassis that you can get from that Advanced Sim Racing, as well as partnerships with that monitors, steering wheels, and plenty of other gear that you can find at Advanced Sim Racing. Use the discount code FreakyFast5 for 5% off at Advanced Sim Racing. And as well, big thanks to that at ButtKicker. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. If you want to get a sensation of feeling the rumbling of a V8 engine, or just get a better experience of, instead of just hearing the sounds, feeling them, watching videos, movies, playing video games, majority of the time it's with sim racing or racing in general, ButtKicker's Gamer 2 is the best way to go. And if you'd like to get 20% off, use the discount code FreakyFast20. And if you have your ButtKicker set up and ready to go, we're going to ramp things up, finding some of the best racing action on screen, and we're going to do a ButtKicker crank it up here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, after our ButtKicker crank it up. My name is Sam Dyer, with me Zach Hall. Robert Moore, running productions here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, giving you coverage of the Stars and Stripes Cup Series presented by Sharp Apparel. Playoff racing action, the last race of the round of 8 to see who's going to race for the Final Four. And it is all Kyle McCoy leading the charge, with Jason Gratton in second. Third is going to go to that of Chris Essery. The number 4 is going to be that of Aaron Hale, Nick Collin, Nate Lynch, Tim McNally, Ken Campbell, Trey Jackson, and Kyle Bowling is going to be your top 10, as we've been watching all the different battling that's been going on, but primarily been watching the battling for 4th place. And this has been some good stuff. And Zach, penalties, car wrecks, it has been a complete mess for some of the drivers that have been in our Elite 8 trying to make the Final Four.
Yeah, I tell you what, we always talked about it last season, who can have the clutch factor, who can be the driver to, do all the right things at the right time when it's most needed. And right now, we've seen a little bit of a few guys drop that ball, and that is something that is going to come back to haunt them here, probably here at the end of this race. Because at the moment, we're staying green. At the moment, as we're watching Aaron Hell here, the one driver we definitely got to be watching for climbing up through, that's going to be Andrew Medley, in my opinion. He's just got past Mike Lynch up to 12th now. He's got a couple seconds up the road up to Christopher Wade and up to Kyle Bowling also for the top 10. But he needs to get as many positions as possible here. He has to drive forward here if he wants to be able to move himself past Cameron Sarton, who is still mired back 2 laps down in that 25th position. He's even behind Scott Rickard, so as he's actually just got by him for the 24th position. So Sarton just makes up one more spot, but still he is stuck back there and in a tough spot right now. So right now, if you're Andrew Mellon, you have to be digging.
Yeah, and right now it would be based off of top 10s, top 5s, and wins, because at the moment, where Andrew Mellon's running compared to that of Scott Rickard, compared to that of Cameron Sarton and Scott Rickard, right now it's looking like Medlin going to be just that of mainly the driver he's looking for is Cameron Sarton, going to be actually tied with points. So Andrew Medlin needing to at least get one more position, which at the pace that he's going, he's going to need a lot more help, because he's going to be about over 3 seconds off of Kyle Bowling, who's in 10th place, who's going to be the next driver that is based off of comparatively of tires, as the 44 is going to be on about 10 to that of 12 lap older tires than that of Andrew Medlin. So there's a lot of work to be made, but Christopher Wade's going to be making the pass for that 10th place position, pushing back the 44, which Kyle Bowling, he is in a must-win scenario if you'd like to make it into the Final Four. Same goes to Trey Jackson, who both have been kind of stuck in that 9th to 12th position.
Yeah, they've kind of got there and haven't really done anything. You're exactly right about that. They've been stuck in that spot since really the start of the races. They both started in 11th and 10th, so really they've been there for majority is right now. You got Jackson right here on the back of McNally and Campbell, so he's performing very well here tonight at Homestead. So Trey Jackson here, like you said, he's always just there. If he can keep that car clean, he's always in there to get some good points. It's just last week at Dover ended up in those tire barrels, and it just did not end the way he wanted. But man, Medlin, he does have a lot of work to do, and I tell you how long he took it on the tires. I don't think he can wait that long this time. He waited so much longer, and these other guys are going to be pitting very soon. We're going to be looking at pit stops next time here happening around lap 90, so we're only 7 laps away from that. If you're Medlin, you're still 17 seconds behind our leader here at McCoy. You definitely, I feel like, lost out in the whole tire game and strategy where you played your cards. So we'll see what Medlin does on that second stop, because he's got the chance to do this. He has the ability. He's had the speed. Can he go up there and get the points needed to get into that Final Four? It's going to be the question.
Well, you're aiming around lap 90 for some of these drivers. There's going to be about 44 to 45 laps into a run for the most of this field. I'm curious who is going to be the driver that wants to stretch this thing out as long as possible. Again, you've seen some of these drivers really able to gain time and catch up. Others gave up so much ground that it really hasn't been optimal on staying out for over that of 5 laps over some of the other drivers that come into pit road and do an undercut sooner. I'm curious for Kyle McCoy if, because he pitted sooner, got himself a 1.5 second gap, almost a 2-second gap over that of Chris Essery, if he's potentially thinking about staying out a lap or 2 later. So he's going to have that tire advantage, and also he's going to have plenty of time to catch up and make the pass over the drivers that have to pit sooner.
Yeah, I personally, that's a great point, Sam, because McCoy did pit right there at that point, like I was expecting at 45. I expect him, to go farther here. He's got the gap now, and especially with Sarton out of this, he's looking to have the pace to hold this off. It's Essery is the one that has been closing down with that, closing down just a little bit also, with both of them having a little bit fresher tires, but he has that wiggle room to see what he can do. So we'll see what happens here. Is I believe actually Sarton is caught up to the back of this year's. Look at this gaggle here of cars here. This for green for this long, it's pretty amazing to see this many cars stacked up here in one little spot on the track.
We got half this field are drivers that are inside of the top 10 racing. The other half of the field are drivers that just went a lap down and are battling to stay inside of the top 15, as it is seeing that of Nate Lynch, that of Kovacic side by side. And now going to be seeing the 25 making the pass, as well as going to be seeing the 4 trying to get by Grimm, who has got damage, as well as going to see the 0.5 of Rickard. And Cameron Sarton has made pass over that of Doug Pierce, so he's moved up to 23rd. He's going to need at least 2 to 3 more positions if he wants to get back in the mix. But this is when it kind of looks a little demoralizing for Cameron Sartin. If you look at the time, he's going to be, 2 laps behind. And if I'm looking at interval-wise, Cameron Sartin is 25 seconds off of Travis Dart. That is almost looking impossible unless we see a major wreck strike, which could still shake everything up. It's still always going to be a potential here, especially if you think of Stars and Stripes early in this season. You think of last season, it was always that final 20 laps. A yellow always seemed to hit. Now, that's always going to be in the back of all these drivers' minds of a yellow is always looming. You got to be in the best position possible here late.
Yeah, because I think that's a question for a lot of guys. I mean, you've seen people like Dylan Glass stretch it 60 laps there on that run on the very first stop. He could go all the way to 120, which they did have that caution to help him get there, so probably not be able to go as far this time. So, they could possibly go to 125 at least. Definitely, close to, definitely within, I'd say, 10 laps to go of this thing. So it's going to be a close scenario for these guys for being able to stretch it far, but do they get a caution to do it?
Oh boy, if there's gonna be drivers making a call, you talked about drivers potentially around lap 90. Well, let's try 89 into pit road side by side. Timmy McNally that have known Nick Holland, and they're not phased through. Contact's gonna be made, and Holland might be missing his box because of that contact.
Oh, he's luckily going to get stopped, and yeah, do not go through each other while you're on the actual pit lane there. While you're in the boxes, the cars do actually go through each other. So, yeah, unfortunate there for Holland and the 88. McNally really had nowhere to go. So, yeah, luckily it didn't spin him around. And now look at this, Grattan going aggressive with the strategy right at lap 90.
Talked about it. Drivers that waited later on, a lap to 3 laps later than when Kyle McCoy went into pit road. They're doing what we call an undercut, pitting sooner. So they're trying to maximize those tires the best of their abilities. But now Kyle McCoy going to be in the capper seat. If anything for McCoy, he's hoping that he can see Chris Esser going to pit road sooner. He's not going to waste any more time, but into pit road is going to be the 7th.
And Kyle McCoy does not waste no time. Indeed, he comes right back down to make sure to stick to his strategy here in the 7 machine. And he had the wiggle room to probably go at least another 2 laps without possibly, having a tough time passing Grattan there. But I think this is a good call. He should stay ahead of Grattan in the overall scheme of things. We'll just see, can Grattan hang on once he gets out of his pit stop.
Now you see that of Chris Esser. He came in second in points with a 16-point advantage over that of Andrew Medlin. Then you fall back to that of third and fourth in points coming into this race. That's where we find Cameron Sartin and that of Kyle McCoy. They both were tied at 15 before qualifying. But for Kyle McCoy, he got the 2 bonus points for having the pole position, then a bonus point for leading a lap. Now a lap can be given to the 10. Technically can say that he's got a 10-point lead of leading, getting that bonus point of a lap led. That's only 1 bonus point, but that 1 point could be so massive on if you're going to be moving on or not to that of the next round of racing for a championship in the final race of the season, the final 4 at Nashville Superspeedway next week. As the laps continue to tick away for these drivers, we're coming up to that of 40 laps to go. And right now, more drivers thinking about pit stops. It's going to be Chris Essery into pit road this go around.
Yep, Chris Essery hit it there that time. He couldn't wait no longer. He says he needs to stay close to that 7 machine. He saw how waiting longer, yeah, you closed it down, but at some point your tires seem to plateau out and you just cannot make up that time. So it did not wait too long here, as we'll be seeing a lot of people hitting pit road along with that. Lynch, the 2 actually there hitting, and the 44 Bowling.
Now we're going to be seeing ourselves with at least our top 6. There's a couple of other stragglers that are going to have to come to pit road, but Aaron Hale, Nate Lynch, Ken Campbell, as well as Christopher Wade, Andrew Medlin, Derek Offerman, all still need to come to pit road. And as I was calling them, Nate Lynch and Ken Campbell now going into pit road as you see the 25 trying to get to his box.
And this is a tough thing to do, even getting to stop there on these old set tires here are very, very worn and hot. He gets it stopped in his box nice and good by the 25. Nate Lynch actually had to back up a little bit. See, these boxes here are actually a little deceiving. You have to stop a good bit actually before the end of the box for your pit crew to get it done. If you go a little bit forward, not even if you're over the line, the crew will not get it done. Lynch had to back up there. He's going to lose a little bit of time there to that 15.
A little bit of ground being lost, but both able to get back out on track. And keeping my eyes out on if drivers are going to get caught speeding on entry. As you see our leader currently, Aaron Hale, still needing to come into pit road. Then you got Christopher Wade, Andrew Medlin, Derek Offerman. For second back to fourth, Wade, Medlin, and Offerman, they can go a little bit further. They can stretch it about 10 laps more than Aaron Hale. But Hale, it's more of how much time do you really want to give up? And for the 4, no more ground he wants to give up. Into pit road is going to be Hale, going to be gifting the lead to that of Christopher Wade in the 54. But he's got himself a hornet's nest of drivers on fresh tires and old tires behind him.
Yeah, this is where you got the mixed bag of different, just different circumstances going on for drivers. Drivers on old tires, drivers on new tires, drivers on medium wear tires. So this is where you can see incidents happening because just on the differences of speed. As you see Medlin close it up on Wade, he'll be wanting to try to get to this lead here. When do these two decide to pit? They stretch it a lot farther than the majority of the field. We'll have to see when it happens. If you're Medlin, can you wait that long? Do you try to wait for a caution? There's so many things that can play out here. As you can see, they're going to be going by Scott Rickard in that 05 with his tough start to this night.
And right now, Garrett Sarton still need to come into pit road for the 13. That's going to be another thing to watch out for, is how much ground does the 13 want to give up on drivers that he had already passed that have come into pit road. It's a continuous wave of unknowns that continue to strike us here as we're coming closer and closer to lap 100 of 133. The final race of the Elite 8 to see who's going to race for the final 4 here for the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. And it's watching this field running along into pit road, going to be seeing that of Brian Lynch. But Christopher Wade, he's trying to get by that of Aaron Hale and a couple of other drivers that seem to be a little slow. That was an odd moment there for the 4, but watch out, almost making contact to the corner.
That was so close there. The 53, the 4 getting up the speed. Here comes a run from Medlin. Doesn't look like he has enough down the back straightaway, but that could have been our caution right there. And that's what we're talking about, a mixed bag. It's just differences of speed like that cause confusion. And right there, we almost had contact. As here comes Medlin. A little bit of a run. He's going to come to pit road. He waits no longer. I like this call from Medlin. Not going as long this time, but just going a little bit longer than the majority of the field. He'll be able to jump a few, I think, of these guys positions-wise. We'll see, can he get enough points here? When does Sarton also decide to give up his position, or does he stay out until the very end?
That's the thing I'm keeping my eye on, is when does Sarton come in? Because currently Sarton running in 19th position, but going to have to come to pit road. And when he comes in, going to be losing at least 4, potentially 5 positions for himself, and then get back out there. He's going to have to run everybody else down. As everyone is coming to pit road, we're still waiting. Here he comes. Christopher Wade needs to come in, and he's making his stop. Patrick Hastings needs to come in. Cameron Sarton, and as well, that of Scott Rickard could be your 3 drivers that still need to come in. But if we look at the win and the driver that's going to be taking the lead position, Kyle McCoy, the 7, the reigning defending champion of last season, 2-time championship winner of the Stars and Stripes Racing Series. 7 machines trying to go for his 3rd championship and be the first driver to go back-to-back championships in this series. And Stars and Stripes, so unique to other series. We talked about the point system, how different it is. Well, each season, it has been a different car that has been ran. First season was in ARCA, second was in trucks, third was in the Xfinity, and then it was the Gen 6 Cup car, this for season 4. Next season's already been announced. Next Gen Cup car is the next vehicle that they're going to be running for season 5.
I think that just speaks volumes of, Kyle McCoy's stature as a driver. He has performed in pretty much all of those seasons and is a 2-time champion, looking to be 3-time now. And man, I tell you what, he's sitting in a great spot right now. He has had a rocky season. It couldn't have been a worse start for him. It just went really, really bad at the beginning. He found his way through that mid portion, and he's been slowly getting ever back to that top spot. And right now, in position once again to put himself in that Final 4, to give himself a chance. That's all he needs in his mind, is one chance, and that 7 will be right in it. So we'll have to see, can he hold on to it here to the end? But you never know, racing, man. You got to make it that checker flag if you want to get to that Nashville Super Speedway with a chance to hold up that championship. And what a way would be able to do it for a 3rd time.
3rd time, the opportunities are still looming. You look at the scenarios of where the drivers are running. Kyle McCoy, with the win, he automatically gets locked in. Even with his position he's running, he would be locked into our Final 4. That of Chris Essery running in 3rd, he would be locked into our Final 4. Ken Campbell, who's in that is 7th place, would be locked in. But if the race ended where we're at now, Andrew Medlin would not be able to pass over that of Cameron Sarton, just because Sarton hasn't come to pit road. But that is the driver we're waiting on. when does Sarton come in, and how many more positions can Andrew Medlin pick up? Because he's got himself about 6.5-second gap between himself and Dylan Glass. And as well, you got Patrick Hastings, who still needs to come to pit road. That's another couple of positions that can be grabbed by that of the 12, who's going to be our driver to watch out for. But I got to say, the rest of the field, this has been a great run for themselves. Trey Jackson tried strategy for the 31. I think he might be coming up a little bit short, being about 11 seconds off of Kyle McCoy.
Yeah, gonna come up a little bit short for Indeed, but yeah, Sarton is the one we're watching for right now. He, I think, is gonna stretch it to the very end of that fuel tank, just try and just hope for any type of caution, because right now he'd be one lap down in the 18th position, only 2 positions behind the lucky dog. So if we were to get a caution, he'd come down pit road, put tires on it, and hope to be able to, at least possibly put himself in a lucky dog position for another caution. So it'd be a lot better spot than being 2 laps down. But I think once he hits pit road and once he finally does use the last bit of that fuel, it is pretty much race over for him. He'll be multiple laps down here and be much farther back than before, having waited so long.
Watching the battling for 4th place here on screen, Nick Holland in the 68, as well as the 31 of Trey Jackson. The Skittles 88 of Tim McNally going to be in 6th place position, as the goal making it the top 5, and that's what we're seeing right now of this battling progressive banking at this course. All 3 lanes being utilized, and for Nick Holland on those older tires, it's just 1 lap older tires. He's doing a great job holding off that of the 31 of Trey Jackson, just showing you find the right lane with these tires, you can really get some speed out of them. But this is looking like the best opportunity for Trey Jackson to the inside on the backstretch, not gaining any draft assistance, but in a better positioning going into turn 3.
Trey Jackson has shown a lot of pace here today, and just look at this beautiful another pass here to break up into the top 4. And what a race he's put on. I mean, it's going to come up short just with that due to the factors of Dover last week, but man, he's going to be saying what if he did not hit those barrels at Dover. Just right now, I can't confirm. Cameron Sarton is hitting pit road in the 13 machine, so he's going to pit here on lap 105. Finally got to come down and see where he'll be able to slot out here. And I think this possibly wasn't the end of the fuel tank for him, but just he said, I was losing so much time. I got to do something here to gain back any little bit of points I possibly can.
Yeah, he's going to gain anything and everything currently right now, which is going to be a lot for himself. But currently, if anything, for that of Cameron Sarton, his goal is finish inside of the top 21. If he can finish in the top 21 positions, he will be able to keep himself in a position where he can feel comfortable. Excuse me, I want to take that back. Actually going to be trying to finish inside of the top 24 where Andrew Medlin runs. Again, Medlin's still waiting on any other positions that can be gained. He gets one with Patrick Hastings making the pass over the 9, but you see the 11 issues running low, but he's been staying low and trying to keep out of everyone else's issues. But if we're potentially almost saw a wreck there that could have brought out a yellow, and still shimmying and struggling, is that of Brian Chu.
Yeah, this is everybody's biggest fear right now. That's in a good spot is Brian Chu again having a little bit of moments as he drops to the or down to the lower side of the straightaway. We'll see. Does he bring it down the pit road, or is he just attempting to drive it like this? Because that car looks very, very hurt at this point. He doesn't have no required, repair flag, so I think he'll be continuing on. But that car just looks evil. As here comes Trey Jackson, a few lead lap cars that are going to try to make it out.
That evil and frustrated and angry is not what this car is looking like, as that of Brian Chu continues to stay out on track, even though it is not feeling comfortable at all. But the 11 continues to race on, and curious on how much longer he's willing to just putter around, as he's going to be 20 laps down. There's really no other position to be gained, and he's going to be dropping it low onto the apron, letting other drivers drive on by. And it looks like back into pit road is where Chu's going to go, where he's been for the majority of the night.
Well, you can just see that car. He's fighting even getting into pit road. It's very hurt bad. I'd imagine some toe damage on that front end that is making that steering wheel very tough to fight. Now we look back up here. McNally battling with Trey Jackson. He's shown a lot of speed on the 1.5 miles, so not surprising to see McNally up here breaking up into this top 4 here and having such a good run, man. But these guys are so far back from Chris Essery. I think this is going to be pretty much this position. As here comes Kent Campbell, though. He's just trying to definitely make a good note on the end of his night, as he's came in here pretty solid on points. But this will just put another solid cap on it that he may be going on to Nashville with a good looking position in that top four.
Nashville is where all the drivers are trying to gain I mean, gain everything. And if you're in the final four, you're racing for a championship. Nashville going to be the wild card of, I think for us up at the booth, we've only seen it a couple of times here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, but of the times that I've seen drivers racing on that track, it is all about throttle control, saving tires, and racing on concrete on that of the 1.3 mile course. And it's such an odd track for a final race, but this whole entire series has always been odd here at the Stars and Stripes Cup Series. They always put on a show and try to change things up, kind of make the drivers always on their toes when it comes late and during the season.
Yeah, I'm sure when the drivers looked at that, they said, "Whoa, Nashville Super Speedway as the championship race." It kind of probably caught them off guard. And I mean, personally, as myself as a driver, I think I'd love that. I feel like that is a very much a driver's racetrack, but it's going to be also, like I said earlier in this race, a very much qualifying race. You know, you need to get up front, stay in position. Yes, saving your tires, holding on to your tires is going to be crucial, but that clean air is really what wins races at that place. And if you're a fast driver that can save tires, getting up front will really help yourself. So qualifying is going to be crucial for that top four if they want to get it done. But we usually see when you come into championship races, it's usually those top four drivers that are the four fastest drivers that night just from the preparation they put in. So we'll have to see that translate over. But I tell you what, from where we're sitting right now, the final four that we'd have, it would be a strong four.
Yeah, right now where they lie would be Ken Campbell, Chris Essery, as well as Kyle McCoy and Andrew Medlin would be able to point his way in. Cameron Sartin too far back. He needs to finish inside of the top 20, but that is asking for him to gain over that of 24 seconds on the drivers from himself being in 23rd up to 20th position. And at the pace and rate that I'm seeing, it's not looking good for that 13 machine as we're continuing to watch the battling that's going on for this of 6th place. And I mean, Zach, this is demoralizing for the 05 who saw himself being taken out so early in this race. But this has got to be amazing for Andrew Medlin, who finally got his first win this season after going winless last season and has so many second and third place finishes for the 12. But now having an opportunity to point his way into the final four, have a chance to go for a championship.
Yeah, that is going to be fun to watch. And I tell you what, it'll be one to watch out for. I feel like a track like Nashville Super Speedway, I don't know what it is, but I feel like that would suit an Andrew Medlin style. So we'll have to see if he can put something together there to possibly be up front and battle for it. But right now, he's looking good. But he's got Christopher Wade right there behind him. He can't be looking to give up spots. He needs to be looking forward, trying to go get Nick Holland here in this last bit of this run. He cannot be rested ashore on his laurels because any little mistake from drivers ahead of Cameron Sartin, someone wrecks out, a couple drivers get mistakes, that moves Cameron Sartin up the leaderboard. He could very well be looking to have to make a few spots up. So right now, cannot sit there and rest on it. You have to go forward if you're that 12 machine.
And Cameron Sartin, he's hoping that he maybe can gain again with where Andrew Medlin is riding in 10th place. The 13 needs to finish in 19th position to point his way and keep at least 1 point ahead of that of Andrew Medlin. That's not accounting for the 5 bonus points for having 0 incidences. That's a factor that honestly could change everything up because those 5 bonus points would be enough to push Cameron Sartin in. But there's a lot of different things that these drivers got to be focusing on.
And I can tell you this much: I believe Andrew Medlin, because of that first incident of the race, I believe he possibly will have an incident because I believe he was involved in all that. So
he was close to being involved. I know he was able to. He just scaved away from seeing the 05, but we don't know if there was any virtual contact or not. I know sometimes the contact hit window can be a little wonky at times, so could have been hit, but we don't know. Again, we're not going to know any of this information until after this race is done. And like you said, Zach, it could be coming out of turn 4 when you could accidentally hit the wall and see those 5 bonus points taken away.
Yeah, and even myself, I just went back and looked at it like there's definitely a possibility that he got nothing from that. So it is very crucial here that you don't get into the wall again here if you're Medlin, because I don't see any damage on the car. Like you said there, Sam, sometimes you just don't get those things. They did not really, they possibly even make contact. So Man, Medley could be sitting very well, but does Sarton have one? That's the thing. We don't know about these things, so we got to wait till the end of this race to see for that. But at this moment, sitting here, Medley would be in a good spot. He just has to hold on. Wade is starting to pull a little bit of pressure on him. But they could possibly even run Nick Holland down as he's getting a little bit bigger in their front windshield.
Get a little bit bigger as we do a quick rundown. Top 5 going to be that of Kyle McCoy. Jason Gratton's going to be in second, as well as that of Chris Essery, and going to be that of third. Ken Campbell, that of Aaron Hale, and also going to be seeing Nate Lynch, Trey Jackson, Timmy McNally, and Nick Holland, excuse me, with that of Andrew Medley. Going to be your top 10 where they run right now. But we are now closing in to that of 11 laps to go, soon to be 10 laps to go. And all these drivers still going to be keeping their eyes open for that late yellow that is going to be looming. Potentially could come out. I know a lot of these drivers don't want to see it, but it always is going to be looming over all these drivers' minds.
And while all this is, like we said, looming on our minds here, I tell you what, Jason Gratton and Chris Essery, they're about to do battle here as Chris Essery has driven him all the way to the back bumper of this 46. Got a little bit fresher tires. It's been a little bit quicker here. We'll see, can he get up the second? But he doesn't need to do anything personally. Chris Essery sitting in a great spot to make it home all the way to that final 4. But man, it is you always, as a driver, wanting that next position, but does he risk it is the question.
Well, I was talking about that in the top of the broadcast of if you have someone in your ear letting you know, hey, you're in the position where you're going to make it into the next round. Don't pressure, don't put any, I know you want that spot, but do not overextend yourself and make a boneheaded move that could be costing you an opportunity to race for a championship next week. It might be better just to hold strong for where you're at right now, as it's 10 laps to go, coming to 9 laps to go when Kyle McCoy comes across the line. But that gap is, we're watching these two drivers battling to be on top of one another. But Zach, the draft between these two might be helping one another. They're still closing and gaining on Kyle McCoy.
Yeah, they gained about 0.4 of a second there that last time by. So they've really been flying there. As I think McCoy may have had a little bit of a scare or something there that lap before, because he just drops the lap time back down to a 34.71 there as the guys behind him 34.73. So pretty much matching lap times here at 9 to go. But yeah, that was a little bit of a scare for me there as I seen that time drop down. So yeah, got to be holding on here if you're Kyle McCoy. Like we said, you got to get to the checker flag. Even if you're out there sitting out front, if you get caught up in an incident we've seen before, people can get caught up in stuff right here at the end of this race, and you can be knocked out. So you got to stay focused all the way to this checker flag, because there is nothing set in stone yet about Nashville.
Absolutely not. As right now running, still watching the battling for second place, Jason Gratton and that of Chris Essery in the 46 and the 10. Trying to figure out also how they're going to get by lap traffic in front of them potentially, and picking and choosing where you want to go, how you want to attack one another. 8 laps coming to 7 laps to go for Kyle McCoy. And Zach, we look back to last season, Kyle McCoy, the playoffs was all this 7. He only race he didn't win was Auto Club, where that of Dylan Grimm found himself into victory lane, but won 4 out of the 5 playoff races to win the championship last season. It's gone a little bit differently this go around for the playoffs, but for the 7 machine, he's been hitting his mark so perfectly since the second half of the regular season. That momentum has just shifted on, and once again, playoffs come around, and the 7 is on his best runs and momentum as we're coming to 6 laps to go.
Yeah, it's like he flips a light switch, man. It's on and off for him, and it is just on since the second half of the season. It has never turned off, and he's had some little mistakes here and there in races, but the speed's been there every night. And one thing you can't deny is speed. So when you have speed, you'll be able to get there. And when you don't make the mistakes, speed will translate into those victories and championships. And that's what we're seeing in the playoffs. He's not making mistakes. He's getting the right calls done. Yeah, he had an untimely caution last week at Bristol that got caught up in that, but he worked his way back, had to fight there to get that top 7 position like he got, and put himself in a position to be right there above that cut line. Came in here tonight, and he is driving the wheels off him, man, trying to get another victory here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, where last year he did a pretty similar thing to this, won about with a 5-second lead.
Just kept on getting that lead and running so well, and right now starting to see again a little bit of conservatorship from that of Kyle McCoy. I think if anything might be the fact of, hey, I don't want to make any big mistakes, let's keep myself away from anyone. backing off your pace isn't the worst thing in the world, especially when you know, hey, there's lap traffic in front of me. Let's not test them. Coming up to 5, 4 laps to go when they cross the line. And for that of Kyle McCoy, he could taste a victory and taste another opportunity to go for 3 championships in this series and to go back-to-back for Season 3 and Season 4. As with 4 laps to go, got to see that there is lap traffic in front of the 7, but he's trying to make sure he does not get close to it coming to these final laps.
Yeah, he can cruise to this victory now. Like you said, he's just been a little bit conservative here as the time has pretty much evened out or been a little bit quicker to the guys behind him. But the one thing I've been watching here is the time closing down between Timmy McNally and Andrew Medlin. He's continued to drive forward in that 12 machine. He's only got about just down to about a second between him and McNally, and then Trey Jackson's also there. Also, can Medlin get a few more spots to solidify that there? We talk about those 5 bonus points there that are up in the air for that 0 incidence points. If he can go get 2 more spots, that's 4 points right there. That would really help him.
Yeah, I mean, massive points can be grabbed right now. And with the fact that Cameron Sarton's running in 23rd position, that's 21 points. The gap, I believe it's going to be that we're seeing about 26 now with gaining an extra spot. So that would be enough. Even with the 5 bonus points, I think this would keep them tied if that of the 12 did not get that, bonus point of not, if he had got an incident point, not getting those bonus points of having 0 incidents. 2 laps to go. It's ticking away as Kyle McCoy trying to get to that white flag onto the backstretch. And Zach, I mean, what a run it's been for the 7.
The 7 has done it, man. He is finally going to be able to go back and try to get back-to-back championships. It's gotten away from him before, but now he's going to have that one chance here when we head off to Nashville to try to get back-to-backs for that 3rd one.
Coming to your freaky fast white flag. It is Kyle McCoy leading the way. White flag is out. No more worries about a yellow. It's all about surviving and making it to the checkered flag for the 7 to lock himself in for Jason Grant and try to get that 2nd place spot. But all eyes are now going to be on the 7 of Kyle McCoy. How well can he continue to run on and challenge? Cameron Sarton cannot advance any more positions. He's 2 laps down. The other drivers in front of him are 1 lap down. So meaning that for that of Andrew Medlin, all he needs to do, just finish in 9th. But up front, it's all Kyle McCoy winning here at the South Beach 200 and having the most momentum going into that of Nashville next week.
What a drive from the 7 there of Kyle McCoy. What a drive from Andrew Medlin there to drive himself up to 9th there, which could possibly put him in. This is going to be so close on even the points, guys. And man, what a season, what a playoffs here. We got 1 more race to go. I cannot wait for that thing.
Longest time it looked like our front 4 in points that came into this night were going to be the 4 that moved on to the next round. But a mistake on pit road from Cameron Sarton gave an opening. Andrew Medlin, who was 5th in points, took that opening and now is looking for an opportunity to be in our final 4. We'll wait for the points to come in to see if the 12 was money here tonight. But the driver we do know that's going to take the gold, get a victory, and is racing for a championship, Kyle McCoy, burns it down. When we come back, we'll be talking to our top 3. That of Kyle McCoy, our winner here tonight, Jason Gradden, and as well, another Final 4 finalist, Chris Essery, coming away with 3rd place finish for the 10.
And we are back here, everybody, for our post-race interviews for the South Beach 200 here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway for the Stars and Stripes Racing League. As we got our top 3 finishers from tonight's race up here in the waiting room. We're going to bring our third-place driver up here, one of our Final Four contenders, Chris Essery, here to have a chat with us on his top 3 finish here tonight at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Hey, Chris, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, another fantastic run here in the playoffs, Chris, man, able to bring home this top 3 finish, and that's pretty much going to solidify your position up into that top 4 for next week at Nashville. How does that feel, first of all, and how is the run out here at Homestead?
Oh, it feels great to have that spot in the championship, and man, it was pretty crazy. There was a lot of drivers laps down that was racing playoff drivers, and it makes me nervous for next week, you know?
Yeah, definitely a lot of nerves heading into next week, man. I mean, that track too next week, Nashville Super Speedway, just to go ahead and go into that. I mean, that's a very tough track and one of the newer tracks onto the schedule. I mean, you know, track position seems huge there. What is the plans heading off in there, man? And how confident do you feel heading to that concrete surface?
Oh man, I've only raced it twice. I have a lot of practice, a lot of practice to do. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm gonna give it all I got, get a lot of practice in, and see if I can't take it home.
Well, man, I tell you what, if it's been anything like the playoffs, you've been super strong and consistent. We'll see what you can do heading off the next week into that Final Four race. Shot for a champion here at the Stars and Stripes Racing League. Before we let you get out of here, though, Chris, anybody wants to shout out to for your top 3 finish here tonight, man?
Yeah, shout out to my family watching at home. My son Liam always cheering me on. My teammates, Sarden and Dart, those guys are amazing. And shout out to Doug Pierce, Patrick Hastings, and I forgot them, but they were one of the good drivers that got out of the way of the playoff guys. So yeah,
Awesome stuff, Chris, man. Congrats on making that Final Four, and we'll catch you next week in Nashville, man.
thank you.
All right, everybody. That was Chris Essery, one of your Final Four contenders heading off the next week for Nashville. We'll go ahead and pull up Jason Gratton in the 46. Best finish of the season for him here at Homestead. Let's hear from him in the 46. Hey, Jason, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Hey, Zach. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Well, I tell you what, buddy, best finish of the season for you at Homestead, and 2 races left, and you've been showing a lot of speed here. How does it feel to bring home a second place finish after putting all that speed together into a good finish like this?
It feels great. Yeah, the last few weeks have been, well, the whole season really, but the last few weeks in particular have been frustrating to finally, get some speed going and clean up my mistakes and yeah, just Bristol caution came out at the wrong time. California, I got taken out on lap 2, and then last week at Dover was second or third. After everything would have cycled out, and Cameron, poor guy's been flawless all season long, and the one slip up he had got me out. But yeah, it feels good. It's nice to finally get the result. And
yeah, definitely a great result for you, man. I tell you what, bringing home that second place finish tonight, it was very, very strong. And like you said, you've had the speed and the pace to get it done. It's just hasn't went your way this season. And how do you feel like going especially into our last race this season next week in Nashville? How do you feel like these last few races, especially where you've shown you can run right up there in the top 5? How does that feel and build your confidence for heading off into the next season here?
As far as the next season, I mean it helps, but I'm not the greatest yet with the or not that I'm going to be the greatest, but I'm not as good yet with the the next gen car. So that's going to take some work, but just being able to run with these guys in general, and being able to see that does help boost that confidence to that if I put in the work and get some good runs going, that I can stay up there with them.
Yeah, it definitely does bode well, man. Well, I'll tell you what, congrats on your best finish of the season here, man, at Homestead for the second place finish. Before we let you get out of here, Jason, anybody wants to send a shout out to, man?
The guys that put on the league and for having me, you guys for broadcasting us all season, and my friends and family that that stay up late every Thursday and watch me. I appreciate you guys supporting me, and I love you guys.
All righty, Jason. I tell you what, buddy, congrats on the second. We'll catch you next week in Nashville.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. That was your second place driver tonight in the 46% best finish season for him, with Jason Gratton, as he heads off to Nashville with some big momentum. We're going to talk to now our defending series champion, two-time champion, also here at Stars and Stripes League, looking to go be a three-time and back-to-back champion. Is Kyle McCoy getting his win here tonight at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Let's talk to Kyle McCoy. He's got to be super excited. Hey, Kyle, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
Hey guys, I got you.
Well, I tell you what, buddy, you got to be super excited here tonight, man. You're going to have the chance to go defend that championship and go look for your third one there at Nashville after getting that victory here tonight at Homestead. It's got to be a lot of relief off of you that you're going to be able to have that chance. But, man, what a great race here tonight from yourself, just putting on a clinic.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out perfect, right? It didn't. I hate that I stunk up the show a little bit, but it wasn't as easy as it looked. I mean, Chris back there was really on me. And shout out to Jason. He ran a great race. Ran a really fantastic race. We raced for the lead up there for a little while, and that was really fun. I mean, this track it's really fun. I wish it had multiple grooves to make it even more fun, but it was good. That these kind of long run races that go strategy just kind of lend themselves to my strengths, which is going to be interesting because I don't feel like we get that next week. So we got back, and that's all you can ask for. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I tell you, it was a heck of a drive from you here, man, to get that fourth victory of the season and put yourself into that final race here. And man, how do you feel like you fare heading off into Nashville, man? It's a big unknown for us. You know, that track, one of the newer tracks here on iRacing, one of the newer tracks that we have seen on schedules, and very tough to pass. Concrete, you know, has a lot of factors to it. But how do you feel about going off in there, especially also with the 750 package?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting. I like the track a lot. I've run well there in the past. It's a cool track. I feel like those concrete tracks kind of lend themselves to my strengths. However, I ran terrible at Dover last week, so I'm clearly gonna have to work on it a little bit and figure out how to not to burn the tires off of this thing. So I had that tonight. I don't know why. It was a little looser. Track was a little slicker. That track, it'll just stick and it'll be really easy to tear the tires up. So I don't know. I'm feeling a little apprehensive, but that's the way I felt coming into this track last year. And so anything can happen. We're gonna bring our best stuff. Qualifying is obviously gonna be super important, like it was tonight. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. That's why it's gonna be fun to watch next week. And I hope you guys have a good time watching it because I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. You got a lot of. We never run that track before in Stars. We got a lot of new guys that are kind of competing for this thing, and it's gonna be tight racing. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun time, Kyle. I tell you what, it's going to be super tight all the way down to the in between you guys for Nashville next week. But before we let you get out of here and go celebrate your win here and get prepared for next week, anybody want to send a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to Brian Burkett. We put in a lot of work this week and figured out some things. Homestead's really been a thorn in my side for a lot of my iRacing career. So coming out and making it look like this gives me a lot of satisfaction for sure, because there's been a lot of years where I've not run this track like that. So shout out to him. We figured some things out this week. Shout out to Nate and Derek and Brian, all the guys that put this league on. They do a fantastic job. It only gets better and better every year. So really excited to see what they come up with next year. They've already got some cool ideas in the bank for you guys next year. So should be fun stuff. And shout out to you guys for putting the broadcast on. Sorry it wasn't super exciting for the lead, but I was really happy with how it turned out. So thanks for putting it on.
Hey, man, a great race, man. We can't knock you for that. You got to drive for that championship, buddy. So congrats on that. We'll see you next week in Nashville, and go get ready for them.
Appreciate it, boys. We're going to bring our best shot. That's for sure.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner, Kyle McCoy in the 7 machine. He's going to be looking to go back-to-back for the championships here at the Stars and Stripes Racing League. And, man, could be the third time he's done that. He is definitely going to be one of those favorites when we enter that championship race next week. And I can go ahead and tell you that 3 of the drivers I know for a fact that are going to be there, that's going to be Kate Campbell, Chris Esser, and Kyle McCoy. We haven't got official word yet if it is Cameron Sarton or Andrew Medlin for our last position in that Final Four. We believe, by count back, at least from us up here in the booth, it would be Medlin, but don't go by official on that. So we'll have to hear from that at some point here if we get that word, or maybe even next week. But we'll go to our unofficial race results here. As you see it, Kyle McCoy able to bring home that 4th victory of the season for me at the Stars and Stripes Racing League. As you're going to bring it home 2nd for Jason Brad. Best finish of the season for him at a very tough time to get good finishes. You know, that's one of these playoff drivers take it up to a next level. He's got the speed that for sure showing with the 2nd place finish. 3rd, going to go to Chris Escher, get into that Final Four along with Kent Gable there in the top 4. Going to be one of those Final Four contenders. 5th's going to go to last week's winner, Aaron Hill, on his great run again. 6th's going to go to Nate Lynch. 7th's going to be Trey Jackson. 8th's going to go to Timmy McNally. 9th's going to be Medlin to see if he possibly could get his way into that Final Four and be the last driver. And rounding out our Freaky Fast top 10 is Christopher Wade. As we look out the rest of the top 10, you definitely got to look all the way down there to 22nd. That's going to be the big one that everybody is circling. Did Cameron Sarton lose out of this Final Four? We have yet to hear official word on that, but man, it's definitely a tough night for him, making that mistake, getting on the pit, off the exit of pit road, making that mistake that has possibly knocked him out of a contention for a championship. So tough break as the rest of the field looks through there. It has been a wild night here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway with the Stars and Stripes Racing League. We got Nashville Super Speedway coming up back here next Thursday. It's going to be one heck of a time. We're going to crown a champion. It's going to be the last race of the season before we come back for our next season with the Next Gen Cup Series cars. So it's going to be, man, a blast of a time for no doubt indeed. But what a race we had here tonight. We got to give a shout out to all the fans who tune in here each and every time here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that share button also to send out to your friends if you enjoyed the racing. Hit the subscribe and bell notification to be notified each and every time we go live here on Freaky Fast so you can watch some more great racing action. But we got to say, love you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. Stay freaky fast.